Yeah, guys, can you hear me? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have, as a refresh view, I can say that last class we have done some things on the data types as a byte, short, int, long, float, and double, right? And when you use byte, when you use short, int, long, and float, you see that there is one source code which is written in 200 KB and which is doing the same task. Another source code, maybe in Java, Python, or but when I'm speaking source code, it's like a code written in any language, and this is taking another developer who has written the same doing same code which does the same task in 150 KB. How is it possible? It is achieving the same task but in 150 KB, and one another developer has taken 200 KB. Which one will you download? The game, if it is the same PUBG, which one will you download?
Which is a lesser,
Yeah, the less.
the one which is a lesser size.
Yeah, how is he able to do it?
Sir, reducing with programming lines, sir.
Yeah, the first thing is that he is using tricks on the optimization. Okay, I'll come to this part. What is called as the optimization? Okay, optimization in a very general term is called like you write down anything and then you trim some of the things, change some of the things so that the functionality is not changing, but your time and space. For any source code, let it be in any language in the field of computer science, time and space is very important. If this is so the same source code is taking 3 minutes, let's take an example. It won't take that much time because execution is one heavy numbers in 1 millisecond. Your processor executes heavy large number of instructions in 1 second, 1 millisecond itself. But just take an example, 3 minutes it's taking for 200 kb, and here it is taking 5 minutes, but it is taking very less space. Which one will you prefer? Here the time is low, but space is heavy. Here the time is heavy, space is low. So there's always a trade-off between these two. Okay, depending upon your requirement for the project and your maybe a game and other things, both has to be low, average level or moderate level. So it has to take very less space, and also execution time should be also faster, less. Okay, so you have seen that in byte because of byte, because of that particular line. Let me open the source code. Yeah, because of the character, because of this long, because of this int, right? You're taking some values. Because of this int, it is taking 8 bits. Okay, let me go to one more example, some small basics here. If you divide one, if you have 8 bits, this is 1 bit. Okay, one memory address is,
Sir, we can't see your screen, sir.
yeah, if you have one 8 bits, one logical memory, 8 bits, if it is like 1 to 8, you have 1 byte. Okay, then how much is 1 terabyte in bytes? Terabyte in bytes, how many bytes is your assignment question. You need to understand a simple logic is that you need
1000 bytes, huh?
how much?
1000.
1K, are you sure?
1 byte is equal to 1000.
You need to, okay, as an assignment question, do it and let me know how much is 1 terabyte in bytes itself. Okay, there's a lot in between also, kilobyte, gigabyte, and other things. Okay, so get this basics also. And now your source code has taken, now if you see the source code, because of just this line integer in the ppt, you see because of integer only you're taking 8 bit, 8 byte. Long it is taking, here it is taking 4 bytes. So your source code minimum, because these are taking two integers, right? Because of this line some bytes, because of this line some memory, some memory, some memory here, some memory, because of character 2 bytes, and long 8 bytes, integer 4 bytes. What is the total space of your java source code? Okay, how you calculate is the space is that it's not the file size. Okay, it's not the file size. It is because of this integer you are taking 4 bytes, because of long you are taking 8 bytes. So you will need to calculate because of how much space is also taking for this whole source code. This will take very less than 2 bytes only. So not sure about how much it is taking, but the data types surely takes like byte takes 1 byte, short takes 2 bytes, integer takes 4 bytes, 8 bytes for the long and double also. So wherever you can use byte and short, use that only, because it will reduce the space, it will reduce the execution time also. Okay, so we'll be completing with this part, that is core Java here. Syllabus for the advanced Java is these things, that is HTML, JavaScript, but we are on the Java and AWS part. So now we have done the SDLC, right? Waterfall and Agile model. Have we completed this requirement phase? What is analysis, coding, testing, and deployment? Do you remember? Yeah, guys. Guys, you're on mute.
Yes, sir, it's audible, sir.
So whatever happens is that, let's take an example. Madhu Jewelers. Madhu is our client, and he's giving us the project. So first we'll get the requirement, what he needs. Does he need a static web application, dynamic web application? Does that web application has need to have chat or video requirement is there? So after the requirement, we'll analyze what kind of technology we need to develop that project. Okay, so in a very simple way, if that it's a gaming project, you'll use utility you or Java or any other thing. If it is a web application, you'll be using HTML, CSS, React or Angular in the front end side. On the back end side, Java or SQL, Java or NoSQL or any other language. So that is the analysis part. Then you will give your HR department go ahead to hire the front end guys, back end guys, and then you start giving them the laptop and other things, everything gets started. Then actual coding starts. You give the knowledge transfer from the client whatever he requires and the developers, so they start coding, testing, and they might deploy it on an on-premises server, or they can use any cloud services. And this workshop or the training is based totally on the AWS. So we'll be deploying our code, we'll be seeing what are the resources, what are the services provided by AWS. That is SDLC. Okay. Now you have 4 types of architectures. One architecture like single tier. What is single tier? You develop any project that is working only in the laptop. Any example that you can give me? Single tier. Yeah, team.
Paint, sir.
Single tier application. A simple
Paint,
yeah, I'm not able to understand, but your answer. But I
paint. It's a Windows Paint.
Windows 10, yeah, operating system. Yeah, we can take that also. And any project that is running locally only, it is not connecting to any system, it is not connecting to any internet, and there are no two players, two different systems working as two players. So that is single tier. Two tier, you have a server and the client. The server where you can use a browser, or your Java code is actually running in the background to connect to the server. You always don't need a browser. Okay, just like you have a Zoom, right? This Zoom is actually how is the architecture of this Zoom? This Zoom is actually installed in your laptop or desktop here, uh, and I have installed it, Guna has installed it, Madhu has installed it. There is a server of Zoom which is hosting the Zoom application. It has its own operating system, own antivirus system, and other mandatory things. And the main application is the Zoom. And whenever we start up the Zoom, it will use our internet connection connectivity from different routers. It will connect to the server backend. We are not using any browser where you're not entering zoom.com or google.com. What happens at that time is you're using a browser, but other way you can use any application which will connect to the server, and whatever voice I'm sending, it is getting stored, and there is a session going on. In this session, whoever is logged in, they are able to hear my voice, she see my screen, and there are n number of meetings. This is work from home and pandemic going on in the whole world. The Zoom is using n number of sessions. There are n number of meetings and clients who are using the Zoom, creating a meeting using this meeting. So you can see how the coding is going on here. Okay. Now coming to the three tier, you have what example I have taken is that this Zoom is also having a database, right? This stores our username, password. So you have your client, you have the server and the database, multi-tier application. A single tier is only in your system. Two tiers is maybe having. You can take two examples here. One is your application itself is having a database inside your system, or it is connecting to the server. Multi-tier is that a server and also a database. So probably most of the application will have a database also to store some or the other value, but some of the game web applications will also have to store your username and password, so they will have this database. Okay. Now you have seen the first hello world program, that is the class 4. Is there anything wrong in this first hello world program?
Sir, F is in lowercase.
Very good. So you guys are practicing. Yep, you always keep it as small, so that I can ask this question to the new batches also. We have seen that data types. Primitive data types are byte, taking size is 1 byte. And if you store more than 127, okay, what we have seen in our source code, if you store more than 127, they will get a compiler error. It won't compile itself. Leave about creating the .class file or intermediary file. Short takes 2 bytes and from minus 32,768. So you can take this PPT, understand, print some long by actually using long in your code, add two numbers, make a calculator program. Okay, so as an assignment question, write on addition of two numbers, in Java using the input from the user. Okay, I have shown you where I'm writing a code. Integer a is equals to 1, integer b is equals to 3, and integer c is equals to a plus b. That is, I'm writing statically. Those are called as the, I am writing the static hard coded value. I am writing a is equals to 1, b is equals to. Now you need to write down a program which will take, which will when the program runs, it will ask the user the value of a, it will ask the user value of b, and then it will print a plus b. Okay, simple. A plus b, it has to print the value. It will ask, right, please enter the value of a, please enter the value of b, and it has to print the value whichever your user has. So when the user runs the program second time, he gives 3 and b as 4, and it has to print 9. Is it 3 plus 4? Can you print 9? Guys, you're on mute. You need to be interactive.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So another assignment question, print, add, subtract, take it from the user, the values, make it as a calculator program. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So have we completed anything on the agile side? You know
No,
what
sir.
is agile?
No, sir.
Okay. So you guys are not from the computer background. That's the reason I'm mixing some of the part from the Java and how an office environment as a developer, when you are working, when you'll be working in a team, what happens is that what happens every day is I'm making you practice from the day one of this workshop or the training itself. Okay. Where this training is for 30 to 45 hours for Java and AWS, and from the day one itself, how your office environment works, how you'll be working as a developer, how you'll be actually pushing the code to the repository. You understand what is the repository and what is the push kind of thing, PR and other things.
Yes, sir. Actually, you told it yesterday.
Yeah. So from the day one itself, we are working on the agile side where once. So what happens is that you have seen in the waterfall model where you are connecting to the client and getting the requirements. Your managers, your technical leads will connect to. Let's take another example here. Madhujewellers.com. Madhu is our client, and all our technical leads here and the non-technical managers are connecting to Madhu. They are taking the requirement in the analysis phase. They'll analyze. We'll use HTML, CSS in the front end. In the back end, we'll use Java, and database would be SQL, not NoSQL. And we to hire two or four developers for the front end and the back end. Then actual development starts. You use IntelliJ or any other thing. In the development phase, also you won't be writing in. You will be developing in your laptop and pushing the code to the repository. Okay, what is a repository? I'll explain you. There is a GitHub repository. You'll push your code to here. From here, it will be deployed to the development server first. In the development server, the tester will log in and then they will test your web application. How when you're clicking the home tab, what is happening? When you're clicking the contact us page, what is the pic getting loaded? Everything is getting tested, and then again it will be going to a regression server. Then here again the tester will come. If the testers find any defects in your code, everything is not working as per expectation, he will raise the bug. Okay, he will raise a bug. This bug will be assigned to any of the developers. They will fix the development bug. Then once the whole bug is actually finished and tested everything in the development, your source code will be again deployed to regression. In regression, again the testers, the other, they will test it in very different ways, and they will raise the bug if there is any. And once the bug is fixed, it will be deployed to the next stage, that is called as a production, where an actual client from the outer internet or anybody will actually access this web application, maybe a static or web dynamic. Now every day, now after this, you will deploy it. Maybe you are using your own server in your company to deploy it. That is called as a non-premise. On premise, you have a server. We have a startup. We have 3 BHK, and one of the space we are using as a server room, and server engineers where every development project is getting deployed there, and it is running 24/7. We are giving the electricity supply, we are making it available, we are making the service available. Okay, so deployment can also be done. We'll be deploying in the AWS. Now this is called as a waterfall model because you can see there's some waterfall in here. Now what happens is that suddenly we give Madhu says that no, I don't want any black screen on the front landing page. I don't want any black screen. I have some sentiments, or maybe that make the font size increase. So new requirement comes directly in the production. So again, your project will go to a development phase, saying that the client wants new pics to be added. Because of this requirement, again, you took 6 months to get it to production, and you showed it to Madhu. Madhu said, "No, I don't want to use these pics. There are new pics coming." Then again, the whole project will move to development. They will add the pics, they'll change the font, they'll change the contact. They say that my SIM number has changed, contact has changed, headquarters has changed from Delhi to Hyderabad. So those all changes are incorporated. Again, the project will go 15 days into development. After 15 days, it will be again going to deployment, and then it will be tested in dev, it will be tested in regression. Again, it will be shown. Then small more changes. So what is happening here? What is happening here is that due to small change, again it is moving from near completion deployment to development. A small change, again 2 days it will go into deployment, it will be tested. Is it good? Waterfall model. So these are the disadvantages. What is happening? Okay, then you got agile. Okay, the industry is following an agile model. What is happening in agile is that they will make a simple home page only. One developer will make the home page front end, okay, and back end of that home page, and then it will be deployed parallelly. Other developer will be working on the contact us page. Think that Guna is working on home page, Suraj is working on the contact us page, and it will be deployed, tested, regression done, and it won't be given to the prod, and then it will be shown to the client Madhu, saying that this is the home page. Do you need any changes? Parallelly, contact us page is also getting developed by an individual developer, maybe a full stack. He is a full stack developer, so it is getting developed. So, is there any changes? Yes, Madhu says that yes, there is a big changes. So only one developer will be engaged to make that changes, and parallelly everything is going in parallel. Okay, everything is going in parallel. If there is any change on the contact us page, then Suraj will take care that he was working on the same thing. He will take care. Maybe others also take care about the changes or bugs which are raised. Bugs are raised at the development. I can fix it. Any others can fix it. So parallelly, this is going. Any change also, it won't take more time as compared to the waterfall model. Okay, and every day when there is a scrum meeting in the agile, uh, there is a scrum calls, there will be a person called as a scrum master. He will make sure that whatever the requirement is there from the client, yeah, the developers like Madhu, developers like Guna, Suraj, and other developers are able to understand. They know what they are developing, and if they get any blocker, if they get anything, so it's the required responsibility of the managers and the scrum masters to make progress. So every day when you come to the office, or maybe if due to pandemic there will be a scrum call, and every developer will be given a chance to speak for 2 minutes. That is, okay, Guna, what you have done to yesterday, what you are doing today, and is there anything blocker which you are waiting? So he'll say, okay, no, yesterday I've worked on the contact us. I'm working on the gallery part, and today I'll be completing it. I don't have any blockers. Another developer known as D2, he is working on something. He's been working on something today, but yesterday he had a blocker, and today he has raised that blocker with the manager. In this way, every day if there is any blocker, if there is anything, everyone will get to know that okay, Guna is working on something because they are listening in the some call, and developer 2 is working on something, you are working on something, and everybody will be aware of who is working on what, and if there is any questions about gallery page, they can connect to Guna, and developer 2 is working on the gallery 2, they can connect if there is any doubts, and internally if there is any blocker on the same day, it will be raised to the management, and that developer will not be waiting until anybody approaches him. The developer will be and the technical lead and the management will be aware what each developer are working, and it will be completed in 6 months itself. Every month, every week, they will come to know. It will be, the code will be pushed to the repository, and it will be testers will be testing it, everything. Suddenly, not like a waterfall model that fifth month you come to know that nothing has started itself because of some blocker. So you got the difference between waterfall model and the agile model, and everything it works. Any
Yes,
doubts
sir.
in that?
Yes.
No, right? So as a developer, you'll be having Scrum calls where you'll be updating everything. And as a developer, you'll be pushing the code to the you'll be making branches. So your next class will be doing some. I won't be taking your homework from your assignments in the email or on the WhatsApp, but I'll be asking you to make some code and push it to the repository. I'll be creating one repository in the GitHub, and this repository will make a branch, and Guna will work on his laptop, push it to the branch, create a PR which will push it to the repository, and this PR will be like, yes, I have done the assignment, I have done the homework, I have raised the PR. So from the day one itself, in this workshop or the training, we'll be working in the agile model, and we'll be doing the things. We'll connect, and if, I'll be asking you if there is any blocker you're facing, if there is any queries that you need for the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the class. Okay. So any doubts? I'm going on mute for 10 seconds. And if you have any doubts, let me know. So I'll take it as no. And this is the GitHub repository. This is an open source, a free repository you can create, and you guys can push the code here. I'll get it here instead of you sending me on the WhatsApp or any code on the Gmail. So this is how I create a repository when you click new. And this is 7 a.m. batch. Yes, this name is not taken by anyone. This is a public repository. Description is that I'll keep it 7 a.m. batch repository. Okay, I'll add a README file and I'll create the repository. And I'm sharing this repository in the chat. Okay, we have 10 minutes, no issues. So tomorrow we'll be doing the GitHub session. Okay, and we will be going forward with the other programs also. But until that, as an assignment, understand what is GitHub and create branch and push one PR as Hello World program and add two numbers taking the input from the user. Got it? This is a new assignment. Question, note it down. Uh, Create a branch in the repository. At first, understand what is GitHub, how it works, and you need to create a branch, push two programs, one hello world program, another add two numbers, which is taken from the user, not hard coded but dynamic. Got it, guys? Have you understood the assignment? Can you post it in the
Yes, sir.
chat? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's it for today. If you have any doubts, let me know. Start working on GitHub, start working on the programs you have, and you can see I'll be sharing you another repositories which have all the programs, but until you understand the basics and other things, and in the meantime, you can also let me stop the recording because these are